What is up, guys? It is Toby, and in today's video I'm going to be teaching you guys how to build a movement fnaf system in Fortnite. Now, before we get started, I just want to explain what I basically mean. And of course, if you don't want to hear me ramble and you already know what I mean, you can skip to the timestamp that I'm going to have above. So what do I mean by a Fortnite movement system? So what I mean is that basically in the main game, how each animatronic moves to a different location on the map, and right now we're gonna implement that in Fortnite basically. So if you want one of your animatronics that you're gonna build for your map to move to camp A to B, you'll be able to have that in Fortnite. Now, don't worry, you don't need nothing crazy. You don't need Creative 2.0. This is just strictly Creative 1.0, and if you don't know what 2.0 is, it's basically Fortnite Creative, but you use Unreal Engine, which you would need a PC for. But don't worry, you won't need none of that. Now, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to get straight into the video. So, as you can see here, I have this whole system set up. So, over here, we have the different animatronics, if you will. These guys are set up. Now, this is actually the same person or the same animatronic, but we're just given the illusion that it's moving. So if I were to actually start this timer up, I will hit the sequencer. It will activate the random number generator, and what will happen is that these guys would start moving around. So I'm actually, to give a better demonstration, I'm gonna start the game so that you guys understand what I'm saying. So as the game is starting, the countdown timer is going to start. The number generator is going to actually start itself, and as you can see, the guys are not there currently because it's giving you time to prep up for the night, depending on how you want your night to go. So if we just wait a little bit, it's going to start. Boom. Alright, now what it does is that it picks a random location, and boom, there you go. The person or the animatronic is gonna spawn. So now what happens is that it actually does it another time, but I have another countdown timer right here, and what that countdown timer does is that it basically makes it so that the animatronic, when it spawns, it disappears until the random number generator is set off again, and when you have it will go to a different location. So it's giving the illusion that they're moving around, and of course these little boxes that have them in would be the locations that they would be spawning in again. So let me end the game real quick. Okay, so the things you'll need to make this movement system is you're going to need 2 time devices. Of course, one device is going to be to start the number generator, and the other device is going to be to actually make them disappear after a couple of seconds. The next thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a pulse trigger, and of course you can all find that in the creative inventory. Next thing you're going to need is a random number generator, of course. You're going to need triggers. You're also going to need these character devices, and of course, since it's just a tutorial, we're not actually going to be making the locations in depth, but you can do that for your own. So to get started, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to place down your timer, and what this would do is, of course, this will start the random number generator. So if I access this, I have a couple of settings here. Duration, I have it to 20. You're gonna want to do, it depends on you if you want it to start at game start or not, but if you do have it at start at game start, I would recommend that you give it maybe about maybe a minute, just so that the player can get a little more time to get themselves set up for the night, if you want to implement a phone call. So if we go over here, I call this FNAF movement. So the settings you're going to need, start a game, up to you. You can also have this start off at a random event, and what that means is that say if after the phone call you want to start, you could put like a trigger or something that will activate this, which will activate the sequencer to activate the generator. Sorry if I'm going fast, there you go, always turn it down. But actually I'm going to start talking slow, just so you guys can get what I mean. So the next thing you're going to want to do, you're going to want to go down, can interact, no. Activating team, doesn't matter. Activating class, doesn't matter. Applies to everyone, yes. Success on timers, true. Completion behavior, you want to put this on restart. Make sure it's on restart. You don't want to put this to stop or reset, because if you have it to reset, it's not gonna activate again. You're just gonna want to have it to restart. Visible during game, you can keep that hidden or not. Timer color doesn't really matter. Just playing game, if you want, you could keep this on, but I would recommend that you keep it off, just so that it kind of throws off the player, so that it gives the illusion that they're moving, and the player will be like, oh no, timer running, these two doesn't really matter. Go down, terminal list, I just have that to bold. That basically just makes it so that the text above when it's counting down is big or not, doesn't really matter. And if you go down, the rest of these settings don't matter. Okay, so now here's what you're gonna want to do on the events. So on success, you're gonna want to put that to post trigger. This will be the post trigger. That basically just means that when this is done counting down, it will activate the post trigger to activate the random number generator. That's basically what that means. Now, that's basically it for this one. There's not any other settings you need. You just really just need the on success and the completion behavior to restart. So just make sure you have that there. So now let's move on to the post trigger. So now what the post trigger basically does is that it just makes it so that this will be activated. Now I'm pretty sure you don't really need a post trigger. You could just go over here and you can just go to let me see, go to on success, send event to number generator, and this will just automatically start the number generator. You don't necessarily need the post trigger, which I think, but it doesn't matter. If you want to add the post trigger, of course you can. If you don't, you do not have to. Now if we go into settings on the post trigger, it will let me hold on, there we go. It wasn't letting me for some reason, but yeah, okay. If we go in here, we have a different amount of settings. I'm going to teach you what you'll need on and stuff like that. So loop infinitely, hold on, I just want to make sure I didn't accidentally change it. Okay, so I have to cancel. Okay, so loop infinitely basically just means that it's going to just keep on looping. You don't really need that one. Number of loops 1. Length, now length is actually going to be important, because when you actually do place this down, I'm gonna just move it for now. What it means by length, it basically just means like this box area. Now you want it to be about 1.0, because if you have it any more longer, what it's gonna do is that it's gonna stretch out and it's gonna hit this trigger on accident, and what that's gonna do is it's gonna make it so that whatever animatronic cam that's supposed to appear on, it's gonna automatically appear no matter what. And that's gonna be kind of bad, because then when the number generator actually hits one of these, then you're just gonna have like two animatronics in the way. You do not want that, because you want to get the illusion that it's just one animatronic, considering the fact that it's one animatronic. Let me put this back over here. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is start sequence when timer device is hit. So of course, when this is done counting down, activate this, will activate that, and that's basically everything so far, I believe. Yeah, that's everything. Okay, so now the number generator is probably going to be the hardest for people to understand, so I'm going to try to explain it in the best way I can. So now, value limit. So now what value limit is basically how much it's going to select. So for example, so I have it on 1. So when the number generator goes off, it's gonna go and select one of these triggers. Just 1. So it's gonna go, so I have 6 right here, and it's gonna pick one of these triggers. Now, if I have this selected to 2, for instance, what it's gonna do is that it's gonna select 2 of these triggers. It could be anyone, it could select maybe this trigger and also this trigger. That's basically what value limit 1 means. It's just gonna select more of that one thing that you want it to, basically. Now, for value limit 2, basically what this is just how much that you have placed, how many triggers you have placed down. So I have 6 of these triggers placed down. So of course it's gonna go by 6 times, because that's how much I have. Now, if you have 7 of these, you would do 7. If you have 2 of these, you would do 2, and that's basically how it works. Now, winning value, you don't really need to know anything about that. That doesn't really matter. All right, now rolling time. Uh, rolling time just basically means how long this is gonna take to actually get ready to select a new thing. You can basically have that to anything you want. It really doesn't matter. Put it to 1 if you just wanted to instantly start selecting the numbers. You don't really need to worry about that. You don't really need to worry about these. Okay, so now zone direction, you want to keep this to forward. So now when you have this at forward, what it's gonna do, the zone itself is just gonna be like this. You see this like bar rectangle? This is basically gonna cover these triggers, and you need to make sure that the triggers are being covered so that it'll actually, you know, lock in and do the random number set to the triggers. So you're gonna want to have that forwards, and if you don't know what forwards looks like, it's basically just, you know, forward. So like that. Pretty self-explanatory. Just making sure you guys understand, no matter how small the thing may be. Length, I have it at 6.1 because I have 6 triggers. That's how long it should be. Let me see. Anything else? Activating team doesn't matter. None of this matters. Okay. So does the winning value doesn't matter. I don't really have to explain winning value. Okay, on win. Okay, so on win basically means that when it selects the triggers and it makes these appear, that's gonna actually come to over here to disappear, but we'll get into that later. But just make sure that when you have 2 of these timer devices, you set the second one to timer device 2, so on when it will activate that. So now let's go over here to triggers. This one should be all set. Yeah, so make sure you just copy these settings. So now triggers, okay, so now triggers and player device. So of course what these do is when this is hit, it will just activate one of these. I don't really have to go into it, but basically you go into trigger, activating team doesn't matter. Trigger by player. These are all going to be set by default. You really don't have to change anything. The only thing you'll have to change is the character device. You're gonna want to have this to on trigger, send to character device, and then turn on visibility. Okay, and this should be character device 1. As you can see. Okay, so now for character device, you can choose anybody really. It doesn't matter. I chose 0 because I think he's the coolest. But you can also choose the different poses that you want just to make it more cooler and it's not dull. It doesn't really matter. Visible during game, you're going to want to have this set to off, because if you don't, they're automatically going to be visible no matter if they're selected to be invisible or not. So none of these settings you really need. And turn on visibility when receiving from the first trigger, and then turn off visibility when receiving from that second trigger. So now let's go into this. That should be automatically set. Just make sure that you set these triggers to these to turn on visibility. This is trigger 2. So then this will be activated by trigger 2, of course. I don't have to go into depth about that because that should be self-explanatory. Okay, so now this right here is very, very important to give the illusion that these guys move. So what this basically does is that it makes it so that there's not more than one animatronic being seen, so it doesn't make it seem like it's a clone, as I explained earlier. So you're gonna want to have this set to 10 minutes. So you're gonna want to have that set to like 10 seconds to whatever you have this. So say if you have this trigger to maybe 10, or better like 30, you're gonna want to have that set to 20. If you have this set to 10, you're going to want to have that set to 5, so on and so forth. You just have to give the illusion that they're being disappeared. So, duration will be 10 seconds. Just make sure that whatever you have that, this is just half of that number. That's counting down by. Activating team doesn't matter. I have this on reset. This one should be on reset. Yeah, make sure that this one's on reset, because if you have to restart, it's gonna keep like going off. You want to have it to reset so that it only goes on when it's triggered again by that. So you go down here. As you can see, none of these really matter, like I said before. Now you go to here, you're gonna want to have this start from the number generator. So I just have to start on win, of course, and then you're gonna okay. So now on success, you're gonna want to have all of these set to turn off visibility. So you're gonna want to go to these character devices and set it so that all of these are turned off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depending on how many animatronic, depending on how many locations you have. These will also turn off the visibility, because like I said, if you have this disabled, what it will do is that it will select more than just one of these guys to spawn, and it will just look weird, and it will just look like these animatronics, or animatronic, I keep saying animatronics. This animatronic has clones, which is bad, very bad. I mean, if you want it like that, I guess you can, but you'll have to find some way to implement that in the way you want to. But basically, that's the whole setup of how to work it. If I went a little bit too fast, you can always go in the comment section and ask me questions about this and that. I'll try to give a more detailed response. But that's basically how you make a simple fnaf movement system. Now, of course, if you want to have it so that you can have multiple animatronics, you will have to do the same system. All you have to do is just make a new player device and place it down, and then just set it to these triggers so that they will also be a animatronic. Or you can just make the whole system over so that it's not just like when this animatronic spawns, the other animatronics are going to spawn as well. If you wanted to have it just to be completely random, like one animatronic might spawn that time, the other animatronic will spawn that time, you could do that, but it's completely up to you. So yeah, so that's basically how you make a simple FNAF movement system. Again, if I went too fast or you didn't understand something, try to rewind or put your answer in the comments and I will be replying to your answer. I have been Toby. Thank you for being with me, and I hope that I help out. My name's Toby. Have a good time, and I'll see you guys all next time. Goodbye, everybody.